Apple rarely asks for your opinion on how its products should look. For decades, users were expected to adapt to the aesthetic vision. There is a specific vision, and historically, there is no room for compromise. When Apple unveiled Liquid Glass, they presented it as the first structural interface reset since 2013. Looking at the scale of this launch, it was clear the company viewed this as the spiritual successor to the original iOS 7 redesign. These are the mechanics behind that look. Liquid Glass works by stacking semi-transparent layers on top of one another, which gives icons and interactive elements a floating, highly reflective aesthetic against the wallpaper. Apple staked its modern visual identity on this specific look, forcing it across their entire ecosystem. But this mandated aesthetic was about to hit a wall of real-world usability. The friction began the moment Liquid Glass reached the public. While the interface looked stunning in pristine promotional renders, it began to fail under the messy conditions of everyday use. The fatal flaw was the blur. With those semi-transparent layers, if a user had a colorful wallpaper behind a notification, the text became entirely unreadable. Users were so frustrated they began digging into settings, searching for reduced transparency, just to make notifications legible. Others found a different workaround, manually diving into display settings to switch with flash from clear to tinted to try and restore basic contrast. A multi-trillion-dollar company had actively broken basic smartphone functionality for the sake of an aesthetic ideal. When June arrived and the WWDC 2026 keynote began, Apple had to address the backlash while announcing iOS 27. Apple's director of human interface took the stage and carefully managed the narrative. He described the changes to Liquid Glass as a natural process of iteration after taking a bold leap forward. He told the crowd they were simply updating the foundations and making additional refinements to the design language. When tech corporations use gentle words like refinement, they are often masking a total structural retreat in front of the press. This schematic shows the mechanical change. Instead of forcing the design, Apple is adding a dedicated slider specifically for Liquid Glass. The ultimate concession is turning the effect off entirely. In the strict discipline of UX design, providing an absolute off switch for a core visual identity represents a total surrender to user demand. iOS 27 arrives in September for the iPhone 18, but its rollout extends all the way back to the iPhone 11. This means hundreds of millions of people holding older hardware are about to receive this design reversal. It grants the user base an unusual level of power, the ability to update phones while completely bypassing the defining design era of the previous years. Historically, Apple has been reluctant to offer deep UI customization. You typically get the vision they designed, and you learn to live with it. This controversy proves something about the fundamental hierarchy of design. When human readability clashes with visual ambition, functionality will always win. When a design choice pushes too far, the most innovative feature a tech giant can offer is simply the power to turn it off.